do you have confidence that, as far as what we're hearing with, budgets and overall consumer practices and habits right now in the country, do you feel confident in it coming back? Because we're hearing a lot, like a lot of different, a lot of different genres, and as far as different sectors in America are falling off when it comes, and guns are one of them. What is your overall thought right now at this time in America? The Trump administration's been in there for a few months now. What are you thinking, being in this industry and making your livelihood for people that own firearms?
Yeah, it's hard to read the tea leaves right now. I'm optimistic. I believe what Trump is doing is correct. I wish that they would get more aggressive with spending cuts. I mean, I would love them to go to that federal government with a chainsaw and just cut. There's so many programs that we just don't need, and really reduce or eliminate our annual deficit and maybe start paying back a little bit. But I think consumer confidence is higher than they're saying. When I'm out, traveling, doing things, talking to people are more excited than what we're hearing in the media. I think there's still a lot of media push to say things are going to be tough because they're trying to hurt Trump, just liberal media. But I'm really optimistic. I mean, for SecureIt, there's a lot happening within the organization, and we're looking at significant growth in the next 2 years. So it's an exciting time for us. I think the gun industry, it's tough because of the cyclical nature of our industry in terms of firearm sales. Unfortunately, the better the president we have for the Second Amendment, sales drop off.
There's no worry.
Right. And when you get a president, you get an administration that clearly is going after it, all of a sudden, you better buy guns. So, but I do think that cycle you're going to see in gun sales, it's going to be moving up and down.
What do you think that, the last 90 days with the tariff discussions, do you think that kind of put a little bit more of a angst in people's mind of like, wait a minute, man, we're going to be paying way higher price than we've ever paid for imports coming over here. And I know that you already said that you believe in Trump, and so do I. I think that, he's doing things for the long term, and I have confidence in that. But there is something to be said about the fear that it's caused the everyday consumer of how much these goods are actually being increased to buy. Do you feel that those tariffs, now that there are agreements being put in place, that's going to, bring a significant change in the buyer's mind as well as they start to see them fall down a little bit?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that right now it's all conjectural. Everybody's thinking, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? But actual pricing on store shelves, I've not seen a lot of changes. And now we have a deal in place for China, which is, I think it's a 10-50, 50% on.
I think it's 55-10 or something like
55-10. And I have not had time to really read into this, but I know that they had a 20% of that tariff was called a fentanyl tariff. And when he first started to negotiate, he said 20% for fentanyl, meaning if China will stop their production of the fentanyl precursors, which is what Kash Patel was talking about, trying to really just shut that down globally, that he would drop the 20%, which would put us to 35%. I think the higher tariffs are going to affect lower income Americans more. Walmart runs on Chinese made inexpensive products, and if those are moving up, it's going to hit probably lower income Americans harder than.
But if China doesn't come to the table, which we are hearing now that they are, then people are going to be out of work over there. The morale is going to go down in China in the factory, and then if they're not moving those goods that they've been making for decades over there, that defeats the whole purpose of the manufacturing being moved to China in the first place, right?
It does. Well, I've just got back from a 2-week trip to China, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Now, we started 2 years ago moving our production out of China, and we're just completing that right now. And that, for us, it was not driven by tariffs. It was really driven by, SecureIt wanting to be out of China. I've got a lot of respect for the Chinese people, but the government's a real problem, and what they're trying to do with America, some of the security violations, some of the things they're doing, we just don't agree with. So we're pulling everything out, bringing some stuff back to the States. And then I've got some manufacturing going to Vietnam. And I looked at a factory in Cambodia. We're not going to be working in Cambodia. Vietnam is a good partner for the United States. That's been a good ally, and it's a strategic location for us for a presence in Asia. The products that we're making over there are items I can't make in America. We'd love to bring everything back here. And people always say, made in America, made in America. Our whole education system is designed to drive every kid to college. This whole thing, if you have to go to college, if you don't have a degree, you're going to suffer. And America lacks factory workers. America lacks tradesmen. When we put out RFQs and RFPs for our Agile cabinet, we've probably sent out 350 in the last 18 months. And they all come back. We can't handle the capacity, or we don't do that level of metalwork, meaning, that's the slide lock technology. It's our patented design for how that cabinet assembles, requires very precision bending with a very high ton presses. The higher the tonnage of the press, the more accurate the bends. And there's so few companies doing this kind of work in America. The average age of a press brakeman is about 55 years old. The average age of a machinist is around 58. In the next 7 to 10 years, as these guys all retire, metal manufacturing in America is going to disappear because there's no kids going in the trades. So what we did, we pulled everything out of China and we brought stuff back to America. We're doing the installs of the gun safe conversion kits. And that product line, the whole line now is all 100% made in America. Our Agile line will be made in Vietnam going forward. We're still searching for American manufacturers. It's not a dollar thing. It's really, the logistics of manufacturing and shipping there is a pain in the neck. We do it because we can get it made and the quality is extremely good. But the other side is, now I've been to China over the last 15 years, probably 20 times. I've never seen the country so depressed, the people. There's been a huge drop-off in enthusiasm amongst the Chinese people. They're not happy. Unemployment of their kids. They're graduating 475,000 engineers a year. Because they've got all the kids, education. Same problem that America's running into. They've got too many college grads, and they don't have jobs for them. There's factory jobs. The average factory worker in China right now is pushing 50. They're getting older, and their population, the birth rate has completely tanked. So they're going to go off a population cliff in the next 10 to 15, 20 years. I've seen estimates that China's population will be cut in half in the next 20 years. So manufacturing in China, we don't have to do anything. And manufacturing in China is just going to diminish because of lack of a workforce. So I don't like what she's doing, but he's got to turn around and stop looking at the world to take over, and he's got to focus on his country because it's going to get bad there. And, Chinese workers, they haven't experienced unemployment. In my lifetime, it's been a growing, pretty hardcore working economy. And now, just the opposite. You've got all these kids not working. They're living at home with their parents, and they're not happy. So the next 5 years will be, you're going to see massive changes. My belief, personal belief, you're going to see massive changes in China and how they operate. And I hope it tracks in a direction that makes better sense for the world, but I don't know.
Back to the comment about trades in America. My dad was a union plumber. Mm-hmm. My uncle was a union plumber. I was watching Fox News the other night about HVAC and landscaping and construction, fabrication and welding trades of the amount of money that is out there to be made in these areas in America. But it always was the mindset where, whether it was your parents preaching to you or the media's pushing you, that you got to go to a college, you got to go to a regular university, you got to study. And then when it gets all said and done, I did good in high school. I did good in college, over 3.3, 3.5 GPA. Mm-hmm. I didn't go to Princeton or an Ivy League school. But I don't really know. I learned how to juggle as far as like different different things in my life.
Right.
Like I could wake up and I had this class and I had this teacher. Nobody was forcing me to go to class. Nobody was making me go and do the work. My parents weren't there waking me up every morning, making me breakfast and say, go to school. So college did teach me some things on how to network, how to juggle different things, how to really, be a multitasker, I guess. But when I look back on it of what I'm doing now in my life, man, I learned through hard knocks.
Yep.
I learned through being out there in the workforce. And I'm not saying that college didn't give me some of that confidence and that college is bad. I'm saying that, man, I see some people that never went to a 4-year school, might have went to a 2-year vocational school, and they're killing it in life. And they say the fastest way to become a millionaire in America right now is through HVAC and starting your own plumbing business and learning to be a businessman. Does that mean you have the entrepreneurial spirit of America and that you know how to drive a business? Because driving a business is hard. Being in business is difficult. Learning how to be in business is difficult, and to keep it going. Then if you decide to take it to the national level like you have, it's even more difficult. To nurture a brand and to get it out there and to give it the love and nourishment that it needs to get to that adolescent stage. You know what I'm saying? Like you went through all of this. So tell me, Tom, like, would you as a father now push your kids to do something different? Or did you push them to college as a father? Did you and your wife say, hey, going to college is important. Getting that degree is important. No. How would you talk to parents right now, being over in China, seeing manufacturing, knowing what's going on in America? I've even heard President Trump say, vocational, go to the trades, go get educated in the trade. What would you do as a parent, or your advice to parents be in that capacity?
I let my kids make their own choice. I didn't go to college. I grew up in fairly blue collar. The Kubanek family in Buffalo area was all pretty much blue collar, and I did well in high school. I got good grades. I just don't learn that way. I got the college age, and I was my family's biggest disappointment that I wasn't going to school, because my brothers, everybody else went to college, it's a different path, but it worked out well for me. Every morning you get up and start turning rocks over and start figuring out what's going to happen and just solving problems, getting things done. But, I've got a friend who runs an electric contracting business, and he's trying to hire new contractors. It's a 2-year apprentice program where you're making about $60,000 a year, and then you start $105,000 plus, with plus benefits. So you take somebody who's going to go to college. If you're financing college, if you're going to debt for college, that's just plain nuts. Because as a CEO of a very fast-growing company in America that we hire a lot of people. We hire people out of we're a growing, successful business. I don't care. If you go into college, I don't care. I'm the CEO. I don't care. We don't ask if you go to college. We want to look at what can you do? Who are you? And we'll train you how to do things this secure way. But these kids are spending all this money for this brand name college, this fancy school. In my opinion, it's a waste of money. The name on that diploma, the brand of that college means absolutely nothing. And these kids they graduate 4 years, they're $150,000 in debt, versus a kid that goes into, say, being an electrician. He makes 60 his first 2 years, now he's making 105. 4 years in, he could have 50 grand in the bank, making 105,000 a year, buy his first house when he's 23, and his retirement will be fully funded by the time he's 35. He's coming out, again, you're making that kind of money. If you put 10% of that invested, you'll be a millionaire late 40s. It's a great path. And again, if you want to go to college and pursue something in college, have at it. But if money's tight, go to a cheap school. Get your education. You can get a great education from a school that's $8,000 or a school that's $80,000. As a business owner, as a guy that hires kids, I don't care which one. It makes no difference to me. I'm not impressed. And we have a list of schools that we will not hire from. I won't hire somebody from Harvard. I don't want the baggage. I won't hire somebody from Columbia. I don't want what those kids are coming out with. Their view of the world is not something that fits with SecureIt's, with our mission, with how we operate. So,
a couple minutes ago, you said that SecureIt is going to experience significant growth.
Yeah.
How do you define significant as a CEO? And what takes place in the projections, the strategizing with your team to be able to look into your crystal ball and say something like you said, that we are going to experience significant growth because you think you have the best idea, so the market's missing something, you've been sitting on something that you've been waiting to introduce. Tell me as a CEO how you get your team behind those words. We're about to experience significant growth.
Yeah, the when I see significant growth, I'm talking 40% per year or better, which is business-wise, that is significant growth. And what we've been building infrastructure for the last year. Our website hasn't changed visually a little bit, but the back end of the site has completely been rebuilt to put us in a position to scale the website and just do a better job, from technical, from stability to security to all aspects to our ability to quickly edit and change things. We've completely rebuilt the back end. Forward facing, the site will be reskinned that'll be finished in about 2 months. We're launching gun safe conversion kits. We've reintroduced that product line, and that was the very first retail product we had. Then we went to the Agile and the Answer safes, which just took off. And the conversion kits, they're still there, but we never pushed them. And in an effort to get more things made in America, we started looking at those kits, and we redesigned the kit into a more scalable solution. So I've got kits now. There's 6 different kits to fit every size safe and every configuration you'd want to do. Pricing wise for the kits is going to be, $89 to maybe $300. They're very affordable, and it allows people the before and after photographs of what we can do with these kits are going to wow people. We officially launched the kits in July. So we've soft launched a few things here and there, but the big launch happens in July. We're introducing handgun storage for the first time in September of this year. It'll be the end of September, right towards the beginning of the fourth quarter. And what we're doing with handgun storage, and then that's coming into our Agile and Answer line, is we've redesigned our locking solution across our whole product line for what we call HSFA locking, high stress, fast access. And this was an idea that I had after doing 3 days of force-on-force, simunition, shoot house training, where we were all geared up for protection, but we're shooting simunitions and we were shooting each other. And it hurts when you get hit with that stuff. So you don't want to get shot, but we were doing scenarios where you're in your office, you're home, there's a break-in, you've got to get to the safe, open it, retrieve a weapon, and take a defensive position. And what we found, I'm watching this, you're in catwalks above the shoot house, we're watching people work, is somebody goes into true fight or flight, that panic moment, you lose fine motor skills. They couldn't open the safes because they couldn't get their hands to do the small buttons. And it was fascinating to watch. I'm like, light went on, I said, and I immediately had the design in my head and went down, I drew it out real quick. I got back to my office. That was on a Friday. Monday morning, by 10 o'clock in the morning, I had a new lock designed. And basically, all we did is we took the buttons and made them. They're 1.5 inch, almost 2 inch square buttons. And it's a six button pad. It's big, so that when you lose fine motor skill, you can still open that lock very quickly. And nobody thinks about that, but it's a gun safe lock designed for you when you're not at your best. And if you've got fast access, you've got handgun storage in your home, and you own a handgun for home defense, if your front door's kicked in and a firearm's discharged at you, what state are you in? I mean, but that's the reality. Is you go into panic mode, or you go into fight, or I'm gonna say panic, fight or flight.
Yep. You
lose all your processing. You can't think straight. It's your whole brain. All your power goes down to your it's your primitive brain, limbic brain, whatever you want to call it, where it's all instinctive, and you lose all these skills. So the HSFA lock is designed to provide very, very fast access in a high-stress situation. Nobody in the gun industry has seen anything like this. It's never been done before. We think that, along with the handgun storage, will be very popular. Our handgun safes are, they're simple, very fast access. We're going to launch 3 safes. Out of the gate, we'll have 2. One is a simple, next to your bed, pops open, presents the gun in a manner where you can draw, and you are in a high ready or low ready position right away. The other safe is designed to be relocatable in your home. So if you own a single firearm, the safe locks next to your bed at night. In the morning, you can open the safe. You can remove the safe from a mounting bracket, go downstairs, and it snaps in to your kitchen. You buy the safe, and you buy plates, mounting plates, which are very inexpensive. You can put one in your car, kitchen pantry, in your bedroom, and wherever you go. This is like for let's say a single mom who has one handgun. She gets up in the morning, keeps it in her bedroom. In the morning, she snaps the safe into the kitchen. Now, all day long, she's 2.5 seconds away from being armed. Going to go somewhere in the car, you can take the safe, snap it in your car. The safe also detaches. It's flight approved, so you can travel with a firearm in that safe in your luggage. So it's designed to be, it's secure, fast access, yet portable, and allow you to relocate a firearm in your home and wherever you want to have one.
When will the market see these?
We're targeting end of September. Is the launch for the handgun safes.
And the technology and the design behind these safes is so future forward that it'll change the way people think about the way. Because just what you just described just now, I always think about is if you do have one, you don't just want to take it out of your safe in your bedroom and then go lay your firearm on the counter while you're cooking dinner at night. You just got home from your nursing job. Single mom's in there. She still has it in a safe place. The kids are running around. They can't touch it, drop it on the floor, accidental discharge, whatever it is, you're still safe. That makes a lot of sense to be able to have these components, these brackets, to be able to just go put this safe to where it installs in just a push, right? You just push it into this bracket.
It snaps in, and then once it's in place, it's secure. And the way you remove the safe, you open the safe. When the safe is open, you like to get to the firearm. There's 2 buttons in there to release it from the bracket. Really, and what it does, again, if you're into guns, I mean, I have several handguns, and I have them in locations in my home. I prefer an AR-15 or a shotgun. I use fast boxes. I mean, that's my choice for home defense. My last choice would be handgun. For me, I'm much more comfortable with a shotgun or like an AR platform rifle. But again, if you've got one handgun, where do you put it in your home? Yeah. Most people have it. They lock it next to your bed. That's where people feel vulnerable at night. Yet most break-ins occur during the day. The vast majority of break-ins in homes occur between 11 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the bulk. People are in and out of your house in 9 minutes. That's a standard break-in. Home invasions, they typically happen in the morning. Break-ins at night aren't that common. So where do you have a handgun? Well, you want it next to your bed. Well, this allows you during the day, without having to buy a second gun, unsnap the safe. So you walk downstairs, snap it. I looked at people like in a drawer in your kitchen. Just put the plate in, safe's drawers closed. Nobody knows you have a handgun. Yet if you're in the kitchen, you're maybe 2 seconds. The safe opens very quickly. And in daytime, people spend the bulk of their time in their kitchens or in kitchen den.
So you're thinking that more people are home after COVID, they're working from home, so that gives them the ability to be at their house for longer durations of time during the day. Moms and dads are working from home. Kids are being more homeschooled than ever. But you said something that's interesting to me is with most break-ins taking place between 11 and 1 in the afternoon and then home invasions in the morning, is that because, one, the intruder assumes nobody's around, they've been scoping it out and nobody's home those time of days? Does it have something to do with the lighting and it being easier to get around in the house without using a flashlight? What studies have shown why those times are more vulnerable?
I've not dug into that. We go to, I use the FBI for crime data and a couple of government websites that we do all of our crime data research. I didn't dig into why. I just looked at the numbers of when and how. Because that's we're trying to prevent people. We want to keep people safe and secure. And so we look at, how does crime happen? How do you prevent it? And it really comes down to having fast access to a firearm, where you need it, when you need it. And, we're trying to get, like with the handgun safes, if you've got a big safe, big traditional gun safe, they typically go in a basement or go in there out of the way. It takes a long time to get a firearm out of there. But it still is, again, we're not saying get rid of your safe. You spend a lot of money on it. It'll lock up a lot of your guns. That's great. But your defensive firearm, put it for me, shotgun next to my front door in a closet. I've got very fast access using one of our fast boxes, or handgun in the kitchen. I've got a handgun in the kitchen. I've got one next to the bed. But then primary, in my kitchen pantry, I've got actually an Agile cabinet with 6 guns in it, just part of my collection, but one of which I've got a racked AR-15. In my front hall closet, I've got a pump shotgun and an AR-15. So I've got very fast access, and nobody comes into my home would ever know that I own firearms. Everything, all the SecureIt safes are designed to be discreet. They're designed to be placed in locations where people won't see them. Those locations are also some of the best locations to give you a tactical advantage.
Yeah, you always talk about the big safe, the traditional safe, the one that's got the big mural, the painting, the logo, the scene of an elk bugling on a mountain in Montana. It's beautiful, right? But then everybody knows where your stuff is, your valuables, your firearms, so they can go right to that. And you've always, preached about secrecy and that your safe should be secret, which makes a ton of sense. So when you're describing these traditional safes now, I want to go into what they look like. And I know that a lot of people will stay organized, but no matter how organized the traditional safe is, in my opinion, how do you get to the firearms in the back of it, right? I'm picturing what I would do back in the days of opening a traditional safe, and you're like, man, I got to move 7 firearms to get to the one I want.
Yep.
So talk to me a little bit about these conversion kits and how the end user is going to be able to take that traditional safe, and what are the benefits of being able, all right, we don't have them stacked on top of each other. I don't have to lay them on the floor. I don't have to be uncomfortable or unsafe while I'm pulling muzzles out to get to the gun I want to get to. Talk to me a little bit about your forward thinking and your design concepts of these conversion kits.
Everything, the conversion kits are designed to be affordable and easy to install. The cradle grid technology that you're actually putting in your safe, that has its roots in 23 years of building military armories. And we're the pros from Dover. We're the leading supplier, a primary supplier to the U.S. military. We build all the SEAL teams, all the U.S. Army Special Forces armories. And it's working with these guys for the last 20 years to really understand, what is it that they actually need to do? And what we found was a simple, flexible system that lets each armorer in each armory, or each soldier who's working in an armory, to design the interior to fit his specific needs. So the system is just very simple, modular. The cradle grid that holds the guns provides proper storage for each gun. Proper storage meaning the guns are in one row, straight line access. You never dig through guns. The guns are free and clear, even with up to a 5-inch optic. Guns are never touching guns. So the system stores the guns in a way that we would say shows respect for the guns, how the guns should be stored. And, we look at the military as they're the pros. And these are the guys that do this for a living. And they use our system because it puts them in a better position to be effective and to survive. When a sniper goes into combat, his first shot has to hit because he's given up his position. People are at risk. He misses. That gun malfunctions. If that scope loses 0 because it's not been stored properly, people can die. They use our system because it guarantees that when he zeroes that rifle, he stores it in our racks, he can guarantee that it will remain zeroed and it will work perfectly. Consumers, civilians, they have the same needs. We're not pros, but when it comes down to guns, we have the same needs. The amount of gear associated with modern firearms, modern hunting is growing exponentially. I've got so much more gear coming in. I whitetail hunt. That's my primary hunting. I do some waterfowl, but from some of the ozonics pieces, some of the calls, I got the camera, I got more and more electronic gear coming in, more and more just optics, and all the things that we do. Our system allows you to very simply and easily organize and store all that gear, and it makes it so much easier when hunting season comes, when everything, you've said it, organization is the key to success. My hunting setup, I've got a waterfowl cabinet, I've got my whitetail cabinet, it's got my go-to rifles and all my go-to gear, because we all tend to buy more gear than we need. Let's face it. But when it's stored and organized, and given the weather, given the day, I go down in the morning, I'm going to head out, and I can just say, yep, I grab each thing I need for that day, and it's all right there laid out. I grab the rifle, and it's very quick, very easy. The conversion kits now will allow you to take the traditional gun safe. There's millions of gun safes in America, and these kits will allow you to take and convert the inside of your safe to our patented cradle grid technology. You can also convert just half a safe, that's more popular for a lot of people who They don't give up some of their traditional safe stuff for whatever reason, but you can convert half a safe for all of your scoped, your high-end rifles. And if you want to, pack and jam everything in the other side, you can do it.
Along with, I want to talk a little bit about the gun rooms that you just mentioned your military experience for the last almost 3 decades. But now civilians can have this type of secret gun room, secret door, safe door that goes into a room. They might have built it out concrete. They might have designed it with their architect. But man, I've seen some really cool things going on with the way that families, hunting lodges, whatever it is, can store their firearms. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on a gun room. What are some of the main details that maybe the future builder needs to think about? Fire protection, secrecy. Where's a good spot to put this in the house? Does it need to be in the basement? What have you seen? It's not just a normal room upstairs where you open a regular door like you would to go into your pantry or to go into your son or daughter's room. Talk to me a little bit about what we need to be thinking about because these conversion kits, you could convert an entire room to being a firearm room for storage, for hunting, whatever. Temperature control. What goes into all of that when we start thinking about converting one of our rooms in our homes into a firearm storage?
Yeah, the gun room side of SecureIt is growing tremendously right now. It is becoming very popular. Gun rooms were probably 8% of our sales. It's pushing closer to 15% right now. Our whole military armory design group, the people that design military armories, will also work with the civilian. Send us the room dimensions, and then we'll say maybe a photograph of the walls. We'll look at where the outlets are, and our armory design guys can draw up a solution with your guns in it and show you different ways and show different configurations of how you could do the room. There's mass storage, then there's storage and display. Most of the rooms we do are kind of man cave rooms where you've got guns stored along the bottom vertically and along the top in horizontal mounts, all of your prized firearms or your collectible pieces all on display. Then we look at gear storage. The cradle grid system with all of our shelf system, each shelf can hold hundreds of pounds, so you can't really overload the system. And imagination is what really drives the system. And we'll design a system for somebody, send them everything, they install it themselves, and then they'll send us pictures of the install. It's all done, looks great. 6 months later, they send us more pictures, and they've completely reconfigured it because they realize, you know what, I'm going to try this. And they realize over time you dial it in to fit your specific needs. Our big gun room systems are steel panels. The gun safe conversion is injection molded, and it's made out of an olefin nylon blend, same material that our upper cradles are made out of, and that is museum approved. It doesn't off gas. There's nothing that this can do that can damage firearms. A lot of the vinyls, a lot of the plastics you'll see in some of the safes can over time leave a ring around a barrel. Again, it's not really a fear I would have for most people, but we do a lot of museums, and they require specifically you cannot off gas. You have to have these materials or they can't use the system. So we use that, and the injection molded panels it makes for a much easier install in a safe. They're smaller, easier to fit. They're much more affordable. The tooling to make this was incredibly expensive. It's a very complex tool to actually make the panels, but we've got that now. So making the panels is relatively inexpensive, which allows us to get the kits. Our original kits were, $499 to $899. We're now $100 to $300. That's how much we were able to bring the price down by going to the injection molded. And just because it's not steel, there's no less capacity. We've demonstrated our injection molded panels, you can put shelves on, hundreds of pounds on the shelves. You can put shelves on the injection molded panels if they're properly installed and walk up them. It's incredibly strong. So that product line alone could show us significant growth because it's affordable, and what it does to a safe. When people see the before and after pictures, it blows their socks off. I mean, they're just like, wow.
So you can convert your safe, you convert your room. What is your opinion, and how would you educate the gun room builder or somebody converting their safe, a traditional safe? I know your Agile line. I've stored ammo with my guns before. What is your opinion on the storage of ammo with firearms? There's a safety part of it, of allowing somebody to see the ammo for that caliber right there with the weapon, with the firearm. or do you store it separately? There are manufacturers out there that have kind of, for lack of better terms, pulled the wool over people's eyes, of the consumer's eyes. Like, here's what you need to be storing your ammo in.
Yeah.
Can you store your ammo in firearms? Is it safe to in a traditional safe if you use a SecureIt conversion kit? Can you have ammo, shotgun ammo, rifle ammo? Can you have all of those components together?
You can. The only thing I advise against is massive amounts of ammo in a safe. And that's because of, in a fire, the gun safe is going to heat up. And fire ratings are nonsense. That's a separate conversation. We've pretty much proven that. A 90-minute safe in our test went 11 minutes. And fire went out. The safe went up to 790 degrees inside. That was after we put the fire out to continue to cook. The challenge with ammo in a safe, if you've got a lot of it, like thousands of rounds, is ammo in a fire cooks off and just pops like firecrackers. Not a big deal. But in a safe, you've tempered it. The safe is going to heat up over 10, 15 minutes. But it's doing that more gradual than actual, like a box of ammo sitting in open flame. The outer shells heat up and pop, and the heat slowly works its way in. As a safe heats up over 10 minutes, you could have, hundreds of rounds reach that critical mass at the same time. First one goes off, and all of a sudden you've got 75 or 100 rounds all going off at the exact same time, and now that safe can be a pipe bomb. So that's the danger. But if you're storing 100 rounds, I don't see it being. 50 rounds. I don't see a reason to store massive amounts of ammo with your guns. It's everything we do, like all of our ammo cabinets are fully vented. We do ammo storage for the military, and it's required. They have to be vented, so in the event of a fire, it cooks off and doesn't create any kind of a ballistic or any kind of an explosive situation. So if you've got thousands and thousands of rounds, I recommend just, we make an ammo cabinet, any large commercial industrial cabinet with a punch door, with a mesh door is how I recommend storing ammunition. In gun rooms, gun walls, ammunition and shelves is fine. It'll cook off safely if there's a fire. Now, if you're building a big gun room dedicated to guns only, some of the things that we're doing or recommending, if you want fireproof the room, I tell people look at aircrete. It's available in most areas in the country now. What it is it's cement with a foam injection process. So they make cement, and a machine that takes cement and foam, combines it, and they actually fill the walls between studs. If you do a room with 2x4s, you go to 2x6s, drywall on either side, it fills with this foam concrete. It dries and hardens pretty quickly, and now you've got a concrete walls, but it's lightweight. But the R factor is through the roof. So it gives you an incredible level of fire protection. As far as security in a gun room, if somebody knows the room is there, anybody can get into a room given time. I'm not big on trying to build poured concrete wall vaults. Getting to that level of expense, there are people that do it. If you're going to get into that level of expense, and you've got the land, buying a Connex box, a shipping container, and burying it, and then make a stair, steel doors on the floor, on the ground with stairs going down, that gives you the best of all worlds. You can easily hide it. It's very secure, and it's, storm-proof, fireproof. But for most people, we do rooms. I'm not a big fan of the big, huge vault doors. People see those, and they know it's a safe. I prefer a heavy steel exterior grade door like you'd see on the back of a warehouse in a city. 6-panel door. It's a panel door. It looks like a wooden door, but it's 350 pounds of steel. Extremely secure. Installed properly, gives you a great level of security. Or I like the Murphy doors, the hidden room, like the SecureIt Armory. When you walk in our office, you'd never know it exists. It's bookshelves. And you grab the bookshelves and they open up into our armory. It locks, but the real security of that system is secrecy. Like, people come in the office all the time, and we go to show them the armory. They're like, holy cow, I had no idea that was there. And you never would. So I'm a big fan of doing the secret doors.
I've never asked you this, but you visit a lot of hunting lodges. You were just down in Texas whitetail hunting last season. You've been to, lodges with myself. You go around the country and you get invited to these places. a lot of the mindset at a hunting lodge is that it's all 100% responsible gun owners. They understand it. They respect the firearms. But a lot of the times you just see them sitting out on a shelf. They're in the open. They might be out on the deck, on the porch, in a you know, like a homemade storage system that just, and they're exposed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back of every lodge that I visit. Most of the guns are exposed. What is your opinion on that? No matter how like-minded somebody is, does that have something to do with the way that you would tell somebody, hey, if everybody's like-minded, but you never know when the housekeepers are going to be around, or there's a lot of things that could happen. What is your idea, or what would you tell a lodge owner with gun storage after the hunt? You come in, you make sure that everything's cleared, actions stay open. We're going to put them in these agile safes. We're going to put them in our gun room. There's a way to be ultra safe and never let an accident happen. What are your thoughts on that? Because you see a lot of it. They might even leave them out on the UTV, and the gun rack's on the front or the back of a UTV, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that? Because I know you've seen it all over the country at hunting lodges.
You know, my opinion is I don't trust anybody else's safety. I mean, until they've demonstrated it, we don't know. You don't, again, if a hunting lodge has people paying to come in to hunt, you assume they know what they're doing. But I wouldn't take the chance myself. So, I mean, I look at it saying all guns have to be verified unloaded before they go inside. You know, barrels open, breeches open. And then we've done a lot of lodges where we'll install fast boxes or agile cabinets. The fast boxes allow, you can set those up in a wall where each hunter comes in, has a fast box that holds 2 rifles or 2 shotguns. And he can program his own combination into it if he wants to. The Agiles, they store 6 guns each and get guns and gear. But when we've done like you've got the big military cabinets, we've done those in a lot of lodges. Well, they'll buy 6 of our big Model 84 weapon racks. All the guns go in. They just padlock everything at night. And in the morning, they get up and they open everything up. But, you know, I go to a lot of ranges and I shoot a lot, and you show up like, hey guys, safety brief. And these guys have been shooting there. They're looking at me like I'm nuts sometimes. I'm just saying, let's be clear on some things, because again, I don't know these guys. I shoot at outdoor ranges where I live all the time, and you assume everybody's safe. But I've seen guns, laying sideways, bolt closed. Is there a round in the chamber? You don't know.
You never know.
And so it's I take safety a little farther than a lot of other people. And sometimes people get annoyed, but I'm just, say, guys, quick safety brief. Let's do you just run through the basics. And then I'm loud. At a range, it's like if we're going down range, I yell loud, down range. And I want everybody I'd prefer everybody yells back, down range. So everybody hears it, they acknowledge it. And that chant of down range lets everybody know that we're done. And I want all bolts open, everything unloaded. Same thing in a lodge, but I like to see lockers, cabinets in lodges. I don't like to see guns laying around. To me, that's, that just violates the principle. We own firearms, and there's enough accidental discharges. There's enough things happen where people get hurt because guns were not secured. It's so easy to lock them. Let's just do it.
We're going to come back with an episode of our sister podcast, This Life Ain't For Everybody. We're going to talk to Tom. I want to segue into that. I want everybody to go over and listen to this because it's very interesting. I want your definition, Mr. Tom, of a Renaissance man. What that meant back in the days in the Renaissance period of our history. And do you consider yourself a Renaissance man? Meaning the way your brain thinks, your ability to read music, write music, play the guitar, take your pilot's license testing. I don't know if you have an instrument license, but we'll talk about that. You do. Yeah. I want to. Do you consider yourself a Renaissance thinking person? Is that even such a term in our world anymore? I know that people have different talents, but it seems to me like you've mastered a lot of them. Do you feel that way about the way you've lived your life? And then I want to segue into what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about guitars, the guitarists you've played with, you being in Guitar Player magazine, you being ranked one of the top guitarists in the country, you being in an 80s metals band, even though you can't tell right now, but me and you both face that problem of not having our metal hair anymore. But I want to talk about what that term means, because I find it very interesting when people are very good at a lot of things. Usually you get in where you fit in, you stay in your lane, and you become good at one thing. And I know that in athletics, you could be a good golfer and a good baseball player and have it, but what is your opinion on that term Renaissance as we segue in to another Tom episode on This Life Ain't For Everybody?
I'm not sure I think the Renaissance, I've heard that used in so many different ways. And I don't consider myself a Renaissance person. I look at it as I'm obsessive with things, and I'm also I just want to learn new things, and I don't want to read about doing something. I want to experience it. So that's why I kind of get like flying. I had a friend of mine was flying when I was living in California. I said, that looks like really fun. So I said, you know what, I'm going to get my pilot's license. So I started doing it, got the pilot's license, we moved to New York with the family, and I got a beach bonanza, got my instrument rating, and I was flying for business. I don't fly because of the magic of flying. Oh, fun. I fly because I want to get there. And I flew all over the Northeast when we were doing our big military contracts. And, that was 2009 to 2013-ish. I sold the plane when sequestration hit. It decimated my company. I ended up selling the plane. I'm too busy right now to fly, because once you're going to be a pilot, you gotta commit 10% of your brain to being a pilot all the time. You've got to be on top of that because there's no margin for error. So at some point in the next 2 to 3 years, I'd like to get back into it. But I look at things and I see something I'm interested in, and the blinders go on. I mean, I'm always running my business, but my downtime, I don't watch TV. I don't read much. I listen to books on tape a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm not a big reader, but I'm with my hands a doer. Right now, my latest project, this August, we're going to Bonneville, and I'm going to be driving a Class J blown fuel modified roadster we're going to shatter the Class J land speed record. And that's a project.
Did you build this car?
No, I bought the car. I've got a builder. I do a lot of automotive restoration. I like working on cars, and I've always got a car. Right now, my current project is a 66 Ford Falcon. I'm building a little hot rod. This level's beyond my skill set. And so I've got John Petrucci is building a car down in Florida, and it's a little marvel. It's a Class J is a sports car with a 750cc or smaller engine. It's a tiny engine. Nobody runs that class. Nobody's run that class at Bonneville since the 50s. They don't make cars like that anymore. So I've got a 1956 Elmquist Sabre, which is a tiny fiberglass car with a Suzuki GSX 750 motor. Carpenter Racing built this 2 motors with a big Garrett turbo on it. And the car's set up, we're running a Heltec EFI system. So while I'm driving, I can dial up the boost. And the motor's going to max out around 400 horsepower out of that little 750. We think we're probably going to max it around 250 for the run, because running on the salt is like driving on ice, on snow. It's slippery. So it's not about just, flooring it and seeing how fast the car goes. It's about getting the throttle and trying to get acceleration when your tires are spinning. You're trying to get traction. You're trying to keep the car going. There's soft spots, so you get sliding. And it's a real I've never done it before, but it's one of those things. You can read about Bonneville. You can watch movies about these guys. I want to know what it's like. I want to know.
So you're going to transport this car to Utah, to the Bonneville Salt Flats, which is about a 7-hour drive from where we sit right now. We're about 120 miles where you sit right now, maybe 110 from the Black Rock Desert, where the big Burning Man Festival takes place every Labor Day week. But that is also where Thrust 2, there's a bar up there in a little town called Gerlach called Bruno. Bruno passed away. The Selmy family still owns the bar. But there's pictures of these cars all over this bar. You'd be very interested to see it. When Thrust 2 broke the land speed record,
right,
it was all done right there on the Black Rock. So I do have a little bit of history of being up there and seeing them set up. So you're transporting this car out to Utah, to the Bonneville Salt Flats with you and your team, and you're going to actually have a legitimate, like a Guinness Speed World Record team.
Well, it'll be Class J. It'll be our team. We're gonna crush the Class J record.
So you're gonna have things that set up to get your top speed, and you're gonna film this, and you're going to.
I'm bringing a camera crew out. We're gonna shoot a documentary on the effort. That's something we'll use as a marketing piece. The car is probably gonna be called the Fast Box, which is our fast.
So how do you
line.
know this desert's safe? Like Trump, I just did my Trump hands. How do you know this desert's safe to run that fast across Bonneville? Do they go in and manicure it for a day like this?
Well, it's Speed Week is. There's hundreds of cars out there.
Okay, so it's during Speed Week.
Yeah, it's Speed Week, and they're running. I mean, these guys are running guys are running 300-400 miles an hour. Our goal with the car, I'd like to hit 150.
And you're not scared at all. Have you gone 150 in a car before on regular pavement?
Yeah.
Tom, that is not safe. Have
you
done it?
I raced RX-7s in the 90s on SCCA road racing.
You've done it all. Did you race motorcycles too?
No.
Were you a stuntman for Tom Cruise and Top Gun?
No.
I think
no,
you
I got
were
in the
gone.
racing though. Again, that was something just like, this is so cool. I really want to pursue this. I had an RX-7, my first like nice car I ever bought. Did a driver's education thing, and I ended up selling that car and buying an old RX-7 and turned it into a race car, and ran Spec 7 with SCCA for 4 years. I won the championship in '96 and '97, 2 years in a row, and then my first son was born. I went to a race. I'm just like, it's not doing it anymore. I sold the car. Came home, put the car for sale, and I haven't raced.
What was that car you were ripping around the office with in Syracuse 2 years ago? When I first got there, you came ripping around the corner in a little tiny sports car.
Was that the blue one? That might have been the Sabre. So my Bonneville Sabre, I have two. One is the Bonneville race car. The other is a street car that I found in a field. I bought it for $800 and set out on about a 10-year restoration. I ended up sending the car to a shop. And it's a very historic. Took a lot of time and money to get this thing restored. It took second place at Amelia Island Car Show, which is that's the number 2 car show in the world. So it's a real special little piece of history. The racer, a guy said, "Tom, I've got one. You can have it for $1,000." He goes, "You've already got one Sabre. You got the coolest Sabre I've ever seen." So I bought the second one, and now we're making the racer. So the Sabre is the car that started the American kit car industry. It's the very first marketed build-your-own car. The whole concept that the enthusiast with very little money could build their own sports car. And this is the car that started the whole thing. So We've got one for the street, and now I've got one for racing. And it's a badass little car. It looks good. It's going in the paint right now, and then we'll have lots of photographs, lots of video. I'm going to run in-car video when we're doing the runs, and it's quite possibly going to be terrifying. It's quite possibly. I don't let fear stop me from doing things, and conquering fear, there's nothing feels greater than when you're scared shitless and you still do it. There's nothing better than conquering your fear.
Nothing.
Because if you stop, that defeat, I can't imagine that defeat. So I was rock climbing in the 80s. My business partner, I was
in a wingsuit and I was on the Red Bull team.
No, I got into rock climbing. My business partner was a girl, Liz. Her boyfriend, Kevin Thaub, was one of Britain's top mountaineers and rock climbers, and he and I partnered up and did a lot of climbing. And I was terrified, but every time you'd top out, I was literally the first 100 feet. I was just terrified I've got a fear of heights. Once you get past 100 feet, it becomes surreal. Now I'm really focused on the climb and trying to, and working my way up. But you get done on the top and walk, and just like that victory personally, it's just for you. It was so cool to know that. Damn, I was scared. I'm at the bottom going, I do not want to do this. I said, but Kevin's, I got to go. And you fight through it. And
as long as you learn how to do it and you're rigged right. And
that's climbing with Kevin. Again, he was world-class rock climber.
Yeah, you learned to do it right.
Was
I got a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts. We're going to come back with an episode of our sister podcast, like I said before. This life ain't for everybody. And we might even have a couple special guests join us.
There you go.
On the podcast. People that you would never imagine would be in my studio are going to join us on this episode of This Life Ain't For Everybody. Tom, SecureIt, thank you for the partnership, the friendship. We had a good steak last night. We're going to have a steak tonight.
Yes, we are.
Maybe a little lobster tail. Do you eat the lobster?
I do. I'm a carnivore for listeners. I eat red meat, water. I do seafood. But yeah, it's...
I love lobster.
No, it's fun coming out, man. It's such a... I'm here for 2 days, and it feels like you just are gone for a week because it's just...
It's nonstop.
No, it's also just such a good change for doing this, because we've been pedal to the metal. I've been pedal to the metal for 4 months, 5 months of just
nobody sees that behind the behind the scenes effort. They see the end result, but
right.
As the man that's always waking up worrying about the brand, you got to go pedal to the metal, and nobody knows about it.
It's been crazy. I've got to take some time. My wife and I are doing a 2-day getaway in
2 days,
weeks.
huh?
Yeah, 2 days, and then. There's a point where I'll get a nice vacation in this fall probably, but
Honey, I'm going on vacation in the fall. I'll be at duck camp for a week. I'll call you when I get back.
Well, there's that.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, SecureIt, the Foul Life podcast. And like I said, cut on over to This Life Ain't For Everybody for this discussion on all of these hobbies this man has. But check out these conversion kits, the agile safe systems, all the firearm storage systems. I just got a great idea for a couple of our lodges when we started talking about the lockers that we currently have in our trailer. We're going to be sharing a bunch of brand new SecureIt content on our YouTube, the SecureIt YouTube, all the websites, our social media. We've been filming some of these conversion kits, and I'm blown away by just the organization and the strategy behind them. All of the valuables that you can keep in them, you can make it your own. You can truly customize it the way you want. We're getting ready to walk out right now to build another conversion kit in another traditional safe that's really going to have half of it be a traditional safe and the other half is going to be a SecureIt conversion kit. So you can get as creative as that right there. Can't wait to show you the end product. Chad Belding, Tom Kubniak, SecureIt. This has been another episode of the Foul Life Podcast brought to you by SecureIt Firearm Storage. Thank you all very much.